Hey, how's everybody doing? You guys all know we just had that huge GTX 670 launch. We're going to follow it up with something from AMD. Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you guys are always asking me for advice on what video card I think is the best bang for the buck. Well, for the AMD series, I've always said it is the 7870 series. With the newer drivers we were testing before compared to old drivers, this card was scoring almost as well as the 7950 in every test, making it a serious competitor for the market. Now today, we're going to take a look at MSi's version. This is their Hawk version, and it has some really cool stuff on it. One of the really cool new features of this card is their new GPU reactor. Now what this basically is a tantalum powered battery that conditions the power of your GPU, helping further the life of the card, because you know the longer the life of the card reacts on how much electricity goes back and forth and heating the card up less and more. That's what actually reduces the life in the card. If you guys don't know that, when your card gets hotter, cools off, hotter and cools off, that's what shortens the life of your card. With power conditioning, it makes sure that the same amount of power is constantly going into your card, ensuring that it runs at the same temperature level, thus increasing the life of your card. So that said, it's a lot of talk for an opening. Let's jump in and let's do the unboxing of this new MSi 7870 Hawk Edition. All right, folks, so here we have it. This is the MSi R7870 Hawk. Now, we talked about this before. They got the GPU reactor. It says it's ready for 3D Mark 11. I think that's kind of a given, so everybody uses that to test. Military Class 3 hardware. You guys know that's MSi's way of saying we use good shit in our cards. MSi's Afterburner software. We've talked about that before. That's great software for doing overclocking and maintaining your card. I like it a lot. It's made by AMD. Hopefully you guys know that. 2 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory. Gonna just pop the top here. So let's start off and look at the features over here on the left-hand side of the box. It says unlocked digital power. It says breaking world record with unlocked digital power. Then we're going to look down here in the bottom. It says 3x3 overclocking kits. These are must-have features for extreme overclockers. It says V checkpoints. This is where you can take your multimeter and hook it directly to the card and get your voltage. Then it says triple overvoltage, supports voltage adjustment of GPU memory VDCI by MSi's Afterburner to unleash R7870 Hawk's overclocking potential. And then it says triple temp monitor, supports temperature monitors of GPU, memory, and all that stuff again by the MSi Afterburner. Then I'm going to jump over here to the right side of the box. We have military class 3 components. Their super MOS, or their copper MOS, which is a copper MOSFET. Their high C cap, highly constructive capacitors. Their golden SSC, it's their golden solid state choke. And then finally their dark solid cap. I'm going to pop the box up to the next half of the box. We can see it says the Hawk Twin Frozr 4 thermal design. Pop down here, dual SCM PWM fans, super pipe technology, dual 4-in-1 heat sinks, nickel plated copper base, and some new dust removal technology, dust in, dust out, with their propeller blade technology as well. On their thing, they have thermal comparisons between some reference coolers and their Twin Frozen. You can see that the numbers are pretty cool. Not to use a pun. So let's jump in and actually see what comes in the box. So we'll start up by using my trusty knife. Nah, we don't really need a trusty knife. I was just joking with that. These boards come with a little pop top. Go ahead and just clip the side over here. I will pull the box out. All right, here we can see the inside. We can see there's a nice plastic cover protecting everything. I'll go ahead and just get rid of that right off the bat because it gets a lot of glare in the cameraman's eyes and probably yours as well. This right here is all the accessories. I'll go ahead and pop that out of the way and we'll go over the accessories one by one before we look at the card. Let me pull this stuff off to the side. And on the bottom down here, we have some paperwork. So let's start out. Let's just be official. Let's start out with the paperwork. So here you can see, just like a quality dog, you get a certificate of quality and stability. So basically, you get a video card with a frickin' pedigree. That's right. Your video card has now got a pedigree. Move it off the side. Got the little MSi. This is their driver CD with all their driver and all that good stuff on there. I don't see a case badge logo in there. Here is the MSi graphics card R7870 Hawk. This little just information guide, getting started, tells you where the V checkpoints are, the fan connections, where some of the features are. So it's basically an overview. It's pretty cool though, because too, it shows you a BIOS switch. So you can switch between BIOSes. They didn't really mention that, but obviously it's a dual BIOS card if it has that switch, even though they're not really pushing that. Just a bunch of stuff on quick installation, that kind of stuff. It's, you know, it's basic, but for some people it'll probably really help a lot. It explains the GPU reactor a little bit on the back. You can see here around the back of the card where the GPU is, this is the technology they're using for that, which is power conditioning, basically, with a fancy, good name. Hopefully it works really well. Here's another quick user's guide. This one will fold out and is really redundant. I just ripped it, didn't mean to do that. But it's in a bunch of different languages and all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to bring it all out for you guys. Here we'll start with the first adapter cable. This is the main display port to standard display port. This can come in handy. Then we have these things right here. These are for connecting all the different things to your motherboard like we talked about before, for reading the voltage and all that stuff. These are the different ones for that. There's 3 different ones. Remember, there was 3 different points to connect. They give you all the connectors to do so. All you need now is your multimeter. Here you go right here. It's the DVI to VGA. I don't know how many people will be using that, but hey, somebody might need it. Then lastly, we have our Molex to dual 6-pin power connectors. All that stuff's out of there. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter. Let's take a look at the video card. Comes in its nice package. Go ahead and pull it off. Now, I just got to say something right off the bat. I want to really know how many of you users on first look agree with me. When I first see this, the first thing I think of is Tony Stark and Iron Man. Dude's got that big old blue power cell right in the center of his chest. I don't know what you guys think, but this sure looks a lot like the Iron Man power cell. I hope this thing lights up, because if it does, it's going to be even more cool. Kind of interesting here. Kind of liking that. Very interesting. Kind of starting off looking at the back of the card first. We can see also that it got this total shield around the back of the card. I like that a lot. I mean, sitting it down its back is going to be kind of weird now because you have that there, but that's good protection to have. You can see the PCI 3.0 insertions right here. It's got a little cover here to keep from getting any finger grease. Up here on top, we have our crossfire finger. It has a single crossfire connection right there. I'll go ahead and just pull it off real quick so you folks can see it. Stick that back on there. I can wait till later. Let's keep looking at the card. Let's spin it around. Let's look at the back. Now earlier, we talked about these things right here. You connect these into each one of these, and then you plug in your different connectors into this. This is a very unique design, and I have to say, MSi, you get a thumbs up on that. That's one of the coolest things I've seen yet from you folks. On the side, you can see all of the heat pipes, the heat fins underneath. You can see all of their capacitors right here. They're all very nicely made. This is a very high quality card in its making. I'm sure if I had my friend Shannon over here, he could name off every single solitary capacitor on here by name. I'm not that good yet. Maybe one day. Here we have the 2 power connectors, both 6-pin, 75 watts a piece there. Flip it around. Got the MSi logo. Let's take a look at the top of the card. We see the twin Frozr design, the MSi logo. Very, very solid. Now, before we go to the rear I/O, I'm going to set the card down and let you know how big this card is. You guys always ask that. So I've got the measuring tape here. In length, looks like the longest point in the card is probably about right here. So it's about 10.5 inches long. The camera can zoom in there. About 10.5 inches long on this card. Ladies, you'll be pleased. And the card is about 4 inches in height. So it's a standard height card. It's also going to take up 2 slots, like all the cards. If you guys notice that most of the cards these days are dual slot. This one's also the same, 1.5 inches. And then last but not least, let's take a look at the rear I/O. We can see on the rear I/O that we have a single DVI port, HDMI, and 2 main display ports. This little connector right here allows you to plug in, and you can plug in your standard display port. So if you have that cable with this adapter, you'll be able to use it. I actually, though, would suggest just using the cable. Sometimes there are problems with the adapters. I'm not trying to knock AMD. It's not their fault. It's a problem with the adapter. So that's it, folks. This is the unboxing of the new R7870 Hawk Edition card from MSi. Here's all the goodies that come inside the box. Camera can get all that in there. And that's pretty much it. Remember, like I said before, this is the only video card you buy that comes with the pedigree.